Hi there guys, my name is Jacob and welcome back to the channel. So I logged in to my pension portal online and it very quickly became apparent what I wanted to make this video on, because I immediately realised when I logged into the portal, my pension has just hit a huge milestone, and one that I actually didn't even realise it was going to hit at this point in time. So I guess I should just take you back and give you a little bit of background info before I give you what that number is. So basically I have been working at the same company for around 14 years. It's basically the only company I've ever worked full-time for. I did a couple of part-time jobs before it, but at about 18 years old, I joined the company I'm at now, and as I say, I've been there ever since. So it's about 14 years, maybe approaching 15 this year. So the pension pot I have is all from the same company that I've been at, like I say, for that whole period of time. And I've been lucky over that period of time that my company offers quite a generous pension contribution scheme. And what I mean by that is they basically match whatever I put into my pension, they match it up to 10%. Now, for the first couple of years I was at the company, I believe it was around 5% that they matched up to, but then at some point they upped it to 10%. So I immediately just bumped my contributions up to 10% as well. Just basically trying to get the best match that I could get and make sure my contributions were as good as they could be. Now, you know, I know it's unusual for, I guess, people in, you know, their late teens and 20s to really be thinking about their pension and retirement and things like that. And I know people generally don't give it much consideration. I've watched a lot of videos on YouTube, and a lot of people coming up for retirement, they're kind of one big regret that I think is like a common theme across retirement, early retirement videos, is people say that they didn't contribute to their pension early enough, and that they didn't kind of think about it soon enough. And if they could go back, they would of course start contributing to their pension a lot earlier and a lot bigger amounts. And that's kind of why I wanted to make this video, because the milestone that my pension has just hit proves exactly why you want to start contributing to your pension as early as you can, and of course as much as you can. But I know that range is that is going to be different for everyone, because people's salaries are different, people's situations are different. But the main thing is that you start contributing even just something as early as you can. Now, I also want to say that I am not in a super well-paid job. I know this is a question that I quite often get asked on these videos. You know, what is your salary? And I'm not going to give my exact salary out, because of course that's quite personal. But what I will say is I averaged my salary out. So basically I looked at my salary from the lowest point to the highest point that I'm at now, and I worked out what the average is that I have earned over those 14 years. And the average was £31,000. So basically you can kind of work out what my contributions have been over the course of that time, roughly on a £31,000 salary. So the numbers I'm going to share with you basically are, what I'm trying to say is that these are numbers that kind of anyone can aspire to hit, because £31,000 is a, you know, sort of an average salary or a less than average salary. So these aren't, you know, you don't have to look at me and think, oh, if I was on his salary, yeah, maybe I could hit these numbers, because ultimately I'm not on a massive salary. So these are very doable numbers for what I would consider the general person in the UK. Right then, enough waffle, let's get into the figures. So the last pension update I gave you guys, which was in, I believe, August of 2025, and my pension pot total was £89,000. And that was, as I say, in August, about, what's that, roughly 5 months ago. Now, I logged into my pension portal just a couple of days ago in preparation for this video, and that's when I realised my pension pot had hit a huge milestone. And I'm guessing a lot of you can probably guess what that milestone is right now. it broke through the £100,000 mark. And I've got the number written down here, so let me just have a look. The number specifically is £101,860. Now, for me personally, I thought that was a huge milestone to hit. Now, of course, I know that that number is not really big enough to provide me with a good retirement. But you've got to remember, I'm only 33. I'm going to keep building this pension pot for a long time to come. But what I think is really crucial is, I'm only 33 and I've got £100,000 in my pension. And I know from looking at average figures, that number is a lot bigger than the average pension pot for my age. But of course, this video is not kind of a bragging rights video. I'm not saying that to kind of show off. I want to say that, and I'm telling you guys, because the reason why my pension pot is that big at 33 is because I started at 18 and I've never taken a break. I did 5% of my salary at 18 up to about 20 or 21. And then from then on, I've done 10%. And as I mentioned earlier, I've been lucky enough that my company has always matched those contribution figures. So of course, every pound I put in doubles to £2 because my company matches it. Now, the really interesting thing about that £100,000 figure, which actually amazed me when I looked at the breakdown, was the number of pounds, the amount that I personally have contributed to that figure. And this honestly amazed me when I looked at it. So as I said earlier, my total pot is worth £101,860. Now, I don't know what you might guess as to what have contributed to that figure. You might guess that it's most of it. And kind of in my head, that was kind of what I was thinking. But actually, it's not at all. I have contributed very little to that pension in regards to the overall number. And I've got the breakdown here. So, I have personally contributed £30,638 over the course of 14 years. 30,000, and yet the pot is worth 101,000. So I have basically contributed less than a third of the overall pot. And I find that incredible. Now, of course, because my company matches my contributions, my company has also put in £30,638, which gets me to a total of £61,276. But the really big contribution that has not come from me or come from my company is the stock market itself. The stocks that my pension is invested in have grown more than £40,584 worth. So there's more than £40,000 worth of growth over that 14-year period. So the biggest contributing factor to my pension pot being over the £100,000 mark is in fact the growth of the stock market, and that is compound interest. And people always go on about this compounding effect and how powerful it is over time. And I think this kind of demonstrates that even though I've only put in around £30,000, and my company has, of course, put in that amount as well, but the biggest contributor to my overall pension pot is actually the growth of the pension pot itself, not the money that I've put in. And I hope that kind of makes sense to you. It makes sense in my head and what I've got written down. But let me know in the comments if I haven't explained that very well. But I've got to say, when I looked at this, I was honestly amazed. And it just proves that the earlier you start contributing to a pension, even if it's small amounts, and I can be honest and say that when I started my job at the company I work at now, my starting salary was £17,000. So 5% of that was what I was contributing for the first couple of years. So again, we're not talking big numbers. And then over time, of course, my salary has grown as I've kind of gone through the ranks of my job. But my average salary across the 14 years is £31,000. So that kind of just gives you an idea of in my mind, it kind of works out to kind of slow and steady wins the race. That's kind of how I work it out in my head. That's what it means in my head. You know, yes, I could have a huge salary and be putting loads of money in every month and get a big pension pot. But you can also do it the way I've done it, with quite an average salary, but over a long period of time. And as I say, I'm 14 years into this now, and I've got a long time ahead of me because I'm only 33. So there's probably going to be another, I don't know, 15 to 20 years of pension contributions before I can even consider retiring. Probably 20, I would have thought. Who knows where this pension pot will be in that period of time? Now, obviously, there's a lot of factors that can change in that time. You know, I could lose my job, I could change jobs, my salary could go up and down, I could be out of work for a while. Who knows? All these factors are obviously in play at any point in time. But I hope, for now at least, I stay in my current role and I can just consistently keep putting away what I'm doing, which is 10% of my salary. And hopefully we can see this pension pot grow, you know, substantially larger over you know, the many years ahead. But I just found it really interesting to see these numbers, and I just wanted to share them with you. And of course, thank you to the person who asked me to make this video, because otherwise I wouldn't have even thought of making it. So let me know down in the comments, guys, what you think of this video, what you think of the information I've provided. Hopefully it all makes sense. I really hope it does. And just let me know if you could share your pension pots and your age, you know, so we can all kind of tie it in and see where everybody's at. Share that down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, of course, hit the like button and the subscribe button. And hopefully there'll be many more pension videos to come if you all enjoy it. Right then, guys, I'll leave it there. Thank you for watching. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one.